All right, let's take a look at Mrs. Doubtfire. I can't ruin it for you. I'm sure you've seen it. It's a wonderful movie starring the late Robin Williams, Academy Award-winning Robin Williams for Best Actor in Good Will Hunting. And he plays a part next to his estranged and soon-to-be divorced wife, Sally Field, who is the best actress in Norma Rae, as well as Places in the Heart, and the best supporting actress as playing the part of Mary Lincoln in the recent movie Lincoln. So what a cast, and a great movie, and a great message. Here you have a culture, 40% of first marriages fail, 50% of second marriages fail, and 70% of third marriages fail. And who's the victim of many of these marriages? The children. So here you have a snapshot, a microcosm of culture of a failed marriage that is deeply affecting the children that seem to be pulled in two different ways. With a seemingly irresponsible father who probably didn't parent the way he probably should have. He didn't have a manual to follow. He made mistakes. His wife has since divorced him, and now he is without custody of his children and, quite frankly, cannot even visit them. So what does he do? He does what anybody would do who wants to see their kids. He dresses up as a woman and as Juvenile Doubtfire, and he becomes the woman, the nanny, who goes into the home. Unbeknownst to the children, he's spending time with his kids as an elderly woman from England who's the housekeeper and the cook. It's hilarious. Great movie, but a great message as well. The fact is this: you may have been the victim of the divorce. Your father probably did make mistakes, as did your mother. My guess is it probably wasn't your fault. My guess is also your father deeply wanted to spend time with you. And in this particular movie, Mrs. Doubtfire shows us visually what is in many men's hearts. They want to spend time with their kids. They regret the time they hadn't spent with their kids, and they'll go to any length to do it, even to dress like a housekeeper from England. So this is important. It's uniquely important. When your parents are divorced, you find yourself in the middle. You've got to understand that your parents love you. They seemingly just didn't know how to love each other. They made some mistakes, and everyone seems to be paying for it. At the end of the movie, they find out that Mrs. Doubtfire is actually their father, and Sally Field's character finds out that her ex-husband has been living in the house with the children the whole time. And it's quite humorous. It's a tough subject, but that's what Williams does. He brings humor to tough subjects. And I think there's a point there too. Humor is necessary in this life if we're going to experience what God would want to have for us. Things can't always be serious. They can't always be resolved. Sometimes they hurt, but we need to have a disposition and an attitude towards it that is loving and kind and builds one another up. I would say this about your parents' divorce: I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you went through that. I'm sorry that you didn't have the time you needed. I'm sorry you didn't have the role model you maybe wanted. I'm sorry it didn't work out. But there is life beyond that. There is a way to overcome. And it doesn't have to be duplicated in your life. And it doesn't have to be the end. Mrs. Doubtfire gives us that look into a bad situation and gives us a way to see it. Not only the painful part of it, but the humorous part of it. And I think that's important too. Let's not lose sight of the fact that no one's died, just the marriage. No one has died, just the marriage. And how is it that we can enjoy life together as best we can, the time that we do have? And how do we avoid it in the future? These are important things to ask. Mrs. Doubtfire on the surface looks very, very surface level, but in reality, there's a depth to it that really should cause us to think. Sometimes it's worth going back and looking at from time to time. Figure out how we deal with things like divorce, because it really hurts. Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993, from the late Robin Williams.